Good day, everyone. This is the CARICOM 5 in 5, a recap of the top 5 stories making the news around the region throughout the week. I am your host, Tusankin English Francis, along with Mr. Kendall Morgan of the CARICOM Secretariat's Communications Unit. In the news this week, CARICOM joins Mexico and Uruguay in a plan to address the crisis in Venezuela. CARICOM congratulates Grenada on the attainment of its 45th independent anniversary. Jamaica is pleased with the lifting of sanctions against the Russian bauxite company. New oil finds push Guyana above industry standards. 28 Haitians dead after a ship sinks off the coast of Bahamas. Here are the details. CARICOM leaders have joined their counterparts from Mexico and Uruguay in formalizing a plan to address the complex situation that relates to Venezuela through an initiative called the Montevideo Mechanism.
You may recall, Tusankin, that the chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris of St. Kitts and Nevis, led a delegation to the United Nations headquarters last week for a meeting with top UN officials, including the Secretary General. And the chairman was accompanied on that mission by Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago, the Grenada Foreign Minister, Mr. Peter David, and the CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Owen LaRocque. And the UNSG had at the time extended an offer of the UN's good officers, circumstances permitting, to facilitate dialogue and negotiations between the two parties.
And as Grenada celebrates its 45th anniversary of independence on Thursday, 7th February, CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Owen LaRocque has lauded its global mark in academia, diplomacy, and sports. He lauded those as impressive. Ambassador LaRocque commended the Prime Minister of Grenada, the Honorable Keith Mitchell, for his inspired leadership as lead head of the CARICOM Quasi-Cabinet for Science and Technology, including Information and Communications.
And the CARICOM's Ministers of Labour, sitting as the Council for Human and Social Development, met this week to discuss avenues to facilitate free movement of two additional categories of persons: security guards and agricultural workers. Their recommendations will go forward to the upcoming Heads of Government meeting to be held in St. Kitts later this month.
There is good news for the employees in the bauxite sector, as the government of Jamaica has confirmed that the United States has lifted sanctions imposed on the Russian bauxite company UC Rusal, the parent company of the West Indies Alumina Company.
Certainly good news for the governments of Jamaica and Guyana, with the thousands of employees who are uncertain about their employment in the bauxite industry.
There is also great news for Guyana, as ExxonMobil has made 2 additional discoveries offshore Guyana at the Tilapia 1 and Chimera 1 wells, bringing the total number of discoveries on the Stabroek block to 12.
And you'll note that Guyana's Energy Director, Mr. Mark Bino, has said that these recent discoveries mean well for Guyanese, while stating that the rate of discoveries put Guyana above industry standards. He acknowledged that the real substance of these finds will come when all Guyanese are able to benefit, whether directly or indirectly.
And on a very sad note, the bodies of over 25 Haitians were recovered off the coast of Abaco in the Bahamas after a 2-day operation mounted by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the United States Coast Guard. Over 15 persons were rescued. Tragedy struck when a ship reportedly carrying a group of Haitian residents to the Bahamas sank near Falkay, 6 miles off the coast of Marsh Harbor, Abaco.
There's big news in sports, with a resounding win by the West Indies over England at the Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Stadium in Antigua, Barbuda. And this followed the equally emphatic victory of the Windies in the first test in Barbados. The West Indies now lead the 3-match series 2-0, with the final match scheduled for St. Lucia this Saturday.
But jubilation following the win was dampened when the ICC ruled that the West Indies had been 2 overs short of their required quota during the contest. Of course, this ruling prompted a firestorm of criticism led by Australian Test legend Shane Warne. West Indies captain Jason Holder was fined 40% of his match fee, double that of his players, and he was also slapped with a ban for 1 match. These were the major stories making the news this week. Follow the CARICOM Secretariat social media sites for these and other stories. See you next time.